Welcome back. So we just took a basic recipe that came in original format of cups, tablespoons, and teaspoons. And we converted that to a weighted measurement and put it simultaneously into our Chef Equation app. We did that. It was so easy. We can do that with any recipe we build from this point forward. So a lot of people are like, man, I don't want to stop and try to convert all of my recipes at one time. I'm not asking you to. I'm asking you to convert as you go. You probably already know that you make 3 batches of something in order to get through a week's time. So I want you to make those batches and go ahead and weigh it out. That way you can be even more precise the next time. All right, so we've got it weighed out. We've got our batter made. Now we need to talk about container sizes. That was a tough name. We had a hard time deciding what to call this section of Chef Equation. But a container, the definition, would be something that you fill up, right? So a container could be the number of ounces you put into a 6-inch round cake pan. Or a container could be the number of ounces of batter that you put into a 9-inch cheesecake pan. A container could be the size, average size, of a decorated cookie. So we could call, a cookie cutter, we could take it off the wall and measure it, and it would be, it fits within a 4-inch square. So its container would be a 4-inch cookie. And in this particular scenario, where we're creating yummy cookies for our case cakes, yummy cookies for our case goods, or we're making cookies for farmers market, or we're making, cookies for bake sales, we probably are going to use a scoop size. And scoops come in a wide range of sizes. I carry 3 of the most common within our shop. And I've got a scoop number 60, and it does a 2.5-inch cookie or so. I've got a scoop that does a 3.5, and then I've got a monster scoop that does a really large 4.5-inch cookie to 4.75-inch cookies. And it happens to be what we use on a regular basis. But these are our containers. These are our scoop sizes. So you can either call it by the ounce size, you call it by its numeric size, like this happens to be scoop number 12. This is scoop number 60. Or you can do it by the way the cookie spreads. Probably the easiest to remember is going to be by the scoop size, scoop number 60 to scoop number 12, scoop number 30. But how do we get these containers into our system? And the easiest way is to weigh the batter that comes out of it. And then we're consistent from this point on. So we know our scoops are always going to weigh a certain amount, right? Let me show you on the scale what that looks like. So I have my scale and I've cut some parchment. I've got my cookie dough hanging out over here. And it's time for me to do my first monster cookie. Well, rather than scooping it and putting it over into my sheet pan, I'm gonna instead put a cookie on top of my weight scale. And I'm going to do my cookie scoop, which I draw up the sides until it's a mostly flat surface. And then I'm going to place it onto my scale. So my monster cookie weighs 4.4 ounces. Let me show you what to do with this in Chef Equation. So I'm going to skip over here to Chef Equation, and I'm going to first go to containers because I don't have these container size set up. I'm going to go to container, and I'm going to add a container. And let's call this first one, this is our big monster one. This is our cookie scoop number 12. That way, if I ever talk to a junior baker and they ask me, hey Natalie, which scoop do I need? I'm like, you're going to use the cookie scoop number 12. And I'm going to even go one further. I'm going to measure the diameter of that scoop. So that diameter happens to be 2.5 inches across. So now I definitely know a number 12 scoop is 2.5 inches in diameter, and I'm going to hit enter to save it. Let's add the other cookie scoops. Come back up here to the top, add container, cookie scoop. And you know what? Let's search over here in this bar. Let's call this cookie scoop. That way we're consistent with the name. So we can go cookie scoop number 30. And that number 30 is it is 2 inches, 2 inches in diameter. Hit tab to save that. And then we'll add our mini cookies. I love these little minis. And our mini is 1.5 inches. It is scoop number 60. Cookie scoop number 60. 1.5, I already forgot what I said. I'm pretty sure I said 1.5 inches. Yes. 1.5 inch diameter. All right, so I've added my container sizes now. So I have all 3 containers set up in my chef equation system. I would then weigh out each size and determine how many ounces it takes to fill that container. So I'm going to start with the big guy. He's 4.4 ounces. So I'm going to go back to my recipe that I had saved. And here I'm going to add a container. And you know what? The first thing I'm going to add is my 1 original recipe batch. That way, if I don't feel like dealing with containers and I just want to say, you know what, multiply the batch by 3 times, it will do that for me. And the weight of this original recipe batch is right here at 48.7 ounces. So I'm going to put in 48.7 ounces. And now we're going to add our cookie scoop. Cookie scoop. And this was the number 12, and it was 4.4 ounces to fill that. Now that I have the cookie scoop done, I can finish building my tray. And I would just go ahead and weigh out, even if I'm not using these cookie scoops right now, I would weigh out each size and go ahead and put it in my recipe. That way I don't have to think about doing it later. It's done for me right now. I'm ready to dish these out, preheat my oven. We're gonna have chocolate chip cookies in the house. But I think I'm ready to take you on the journey of baker's percentage and what that means. But before I do that, one more thing on chef equation. Before I do that, you see all of the extra hanging out on this paddle and in the bowl? That's called waste. So if there are recipes that you create that you can't get everything out of the bowl and some kind of clings to the paddle, let me show you how to increase a waste margin in your recipe that accounts for that. Especially if you're trying to be so precise and get down to the very last cupcake. If there's something hanging out on the bowl, you might be a little bit short on leftover batter to create that last cupcake. So let me show you how to add that. Within our recipe, we have a section called margin of waste. Industry standard is generally about 3 to 5%. For this recipe, I'm going to make that margin of waste 5%. That means when I'm building my cookie scoops, it's going to add a smidge more to my batter, depending on how many cookie scoops I'm making for my week. Once I've added that, I'm going to go ahead and hit save, make sure that updates for me, and it does. And we are all set with our recipe. So that's this lesson in a nutshell. We talked about containers and how to weigh them out. I would do the same thing with rolled cookies. I would cut out a square, 2-inch square, 3-inch square, 4-inch square. I'd weigh it out. Then no matter what size cookie cutter I pull off the wall and cut, if I look at it and look at the square, I can go, oh yeah, that's a 4-inch square. I need to make sure I put in containers that are 4-inch squares. I do not have to put in every single cookie cutter design that I own. I just need to know if it's a 3-inch or a 4-inch square for my container sizes. All right, I will see you after I dip these and turn on the oven and get them going. I'll see you in the next lesson.